I wonder, how many Nigerians know that ministries, some government departments and agencies get security votes? In the 2012 budget, 104.5 million naira was allocated to the office of the head of the Federal Civil Service as security vote. Also, in the 2012 budget, the Finance Ministry headquarters got 66.9 million naira for refreshment and meals. But that is in addition to the 194 million naira set aside for the same refreshment and meals for preparing the 2012 budget, also allocated to the same ministry. Little wonder why the allocation for recurrent expenditure is so high.
In fact, before the National Assembly started before they started hiding their budget under the guise of statutory transfer, you had such, in 1 year, you had what they call members' image laundering for 150 million. You go to issues about entertainment, welfare allowances, and all kinds of things that even the budget office at 1 year had over 100 million for welfare. And so you begin to ask yourself, are these the priorities of Nigerians?
In fact, some of the ministries or some of the agencies, they are even asking for security board. There are a lot of fraudulent, allocation that goes in the name of security board, where you have, security agencies having the security board, the, chief executive officers of parastatal and ministries having also security board.
Is there really a way that we can talk about the problems of the budget without mentioning the C word? Even the government admits that corruption is a major problem in Nigeria.
See, the first thing that you have to tackle when you're looking or trying to make a review of the progress is to first check corruption. Because corruption is what nips everything in the bud.
If it costs 1 naira to tar a kilometer of road in Accra, and maybe 75 kobo in Senegal, in Nigeria, 1 naira in those places. So in Nigeria, it will be 1,000 naira. Not necessarily because the soil texture is worse or the topography is worse, but because of the food chain. The food chain. Right from when you conceive the contract, all the people who will eat along the line, you have to budget for the food chain. So by the time it gets to the end user, the cost is already prohibitive. It is no longer bringing development. It's actually a shackle, a chain. Because to pay that contract, first of all, it will take longer to finish on the project. Because the money becomes so huge, it cannot be accommodated in one fiscal year. So you are looking at 2, 3, 4, 5 fiscal years. Okay? So one of the reasons you see some projects continue to show up on the budget is because of this corruption that has escalated the cost, and so the thing needs to feature. If you were to eliminate the corruption and the food chain, the road from point A to point B, which normally they say they are budgeting for 5 years, will be finished in 1 year.
The Lokoja-Abuja road, it has been there for over 6 years. Every year money is allocated, nobody is seeing anything. The Abuja-Kepi road has been there since 1999. Up to now, it has not been completed.
It's not just peculiar to roads. It is, in some agencies, you will see, the construction of barracks or the construction of schools. The same thing becomes a repetitive thing over periods that may be over 10 years on the budget. And you then begin to wonder, are these infinite projects? Are they projects in motion? Are they things that are supposed to be concluded within some specified time periods? These are problems that we must grapple with if we are to actually make the budgets to become impactful and to be meaningful for our development.
The Lokoja-Abuja road kept popping up in the interviews, so we decided to take you down that road. Literally.
Under pressure we will, under pressure. Under pressure, black people under pressure. Under pressure, Nigerians under pressure. Under pressure, Africans.
My name is Mr. Ezenwa. I'm a truck driver. I'm using this Lokoja Abuja road for over 7 years now because my office is in Abuja. My brother, it's not easy. I feel so hard concerning this road because we heard that during the regime of Obasanjo regime, they have already awarded this road. But since then, the people they are there, but the work is slow. We are not even asking them to share the money with us, but just to use that money, the budget for it to keep our road okay, do our road so that we can be able to enjoy the road. So and the accident on this road will almost also limit.
This is the Ugeli Patani section of the East-West Road. The contract for the East-West Road project was awarded in 2006. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Elder Godsday Orubebe, said in June 2013 that the project will be completed in December of 2014. According to him, so far 200 billion naira has already been spent. It is important to point out that the original cost of the project was 138 billion naira. We also looked at the state of some federal roads. Very few roads can be as significant as the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. It's that road that brings you into the country when coming from the Republic of Benin. Let's just say that road is not the warmest way to say, "Welcome to Nigeria." The Enugu-Onitsha road is no exception. Major portions of it are in a bad state.
From Umuahia to Oka, from Umuahia to where the Anambra State University is, it's just one lane we use. Until you pass, then you come use the other lane and come inside Oka. But it's still being patched. The road has been patched. They've not worked on that. Oh, we face accident, especially when rain is falling, when there's a rainfall. Even that side that we use, there's a flood, so we run into trouble.
These major roads are just examples of the consequences of our budgeting deficiencies. And we can go on and on and on about the problems. But let's not lose focus. So, moving on to everybody's favorite part, the solutions. Are there any? One solution has been preferred by our experts. That is participatory budgeting. A budgetary process that engages and involves the citizenry in its formulation, implementation, and evaluation.
If, for example, a significant period before the budget year, we in town hall meetings review the situation with the various sectors we're dealing with and say, look, what do you really want as a people? And people will speak up, this is what we want, this is what we want. Public officials may find that what they think people want is not what the people want. Out of these town hall meetings will come a sense for the priorities. And these priorities are determined. Then they are broken down, giving expected, anticipated revenues.
Beyond making inputs into the budget, much more importantly, is ensuring that the budget is followed. In fact, that is even a much more critical component of participatory budgeting. Whatever the nature of the budget, after it is passed, I need to know how you have allocated resources for the various sectors of the economy. And then I need to be able to interrogate and ensure that money is being spent according to the allocation. When the contract for the building of my road is awarded to XYZ Construction Limited, it ought to be put in the public domain that the contract to build this road has been awarded for X amount of money. Now, these are areas in which there's so much of secrecy. It's opaque. The citizens never get to know what goes on. Unfortunately, the citizens are so lethargic that they also do not ask questions.
By the time we discover that 600 million has been budgeted for newspapers in the president's house, for example, hey, before the budget even goes to the house, we can then say, no, we don't accept this. In a country where people are dying for lack of basic infrastructure in our hospitals, in our schools, students, instead of engaging in all kinds of cult activities and useless activities, students themselves should be daily working on how can education get more funding than it's presently getting. So use draft budget, discuss it in the students' unions, and do some peaceful protest to insist that education should get more than it is getting.
Yes, it sounds good, very good. But how practical and realistic is this concept? Can an ordinary citizen like me, or perhaps you, monitor budget implementation? Is that even possible?
Imagine a carpenter whose wife has cancer. Where is he going to get the bill to treat his wife? Maybe she has 2 kids. Can't afford school fees. He can't afford to put food on the table. You want this carpenter or this Okada driver or this plumber to have time for the Nigerian budget. He hasn't been educated. Now let's look at those that are coming out of education. Now a lot of people say that the people coming out of universities now are half-baked. Is it those boys and girls that they are so-called half-baked that will start to understand the implementation or those figures of that budget? So it comes from the people in power. Do they really love their people? Do they really care? Do they really want to serve?
We can't say, look, we can't have this sit-down look. I have more serious problems than to be chasing after them. Let them do what they like. The reason I have more serious problems is because I let them do what they like. I have to find water. I have to make money to buy. I better pass my neighbor generator, largely because the electricity sector has failed me. So the only way I'm going to deliver myself from the constant pressure to be able to maintain that I better pass my neighbor, whether through regular servicing or through fueling and it all stress in my life, is to make sure that I monitor the system to get the government to deliver electricity.
The fact of the matter is that the budget is expenditure estimates for all departments of government. So you must have lots and lots of numbers. But it's not those numbers that are important. It's the policy content behind the numbers. Is the percentages allocated to one sector vis-a-vis the other sectors. And those are simple issues. Those are things people can understand very easily. And what I'm suggesting is that the guiding principles, the policy thrust underpinning the budget is what needs to have popular debates on so that people can make their input into determining the policy direction that the budget will take.
In Ijebu-Ode Diocese, we had a Justice and Peace Commission headed by one Father John Patrick Ngoyi. And there were very elaborate processes and procedures to monitor the budgets of local governments within that Ijebu-Ode Diocese. Ijebu-Ode Diocese is half of Ogun State. And they were in touch with the chairman of the local governments and then with the finance councillors and so on. And they made them know that we are monitoring you. Now, it reduced the incidences of corruption. It is the same mechanism that you can use to monitor budget on a national level. All kinds of agencies can be involved, and it can be a network because national budget is a very big one. So what we could do is to say, look, this agency, you face Ministry of Defense and monitor their budget.
But one thing is not in doubt. Something needs to be done to prevent Nigeria from sliding into anarchy. But some would argue that anarchy is already here.
If the government continues in this light, there will be chaos, anarchy. We are even, I believe, in a state of anarchy. Why? Because people that are meant to lead are very dishonest.
As we see today, nobody knows how much a distinguished senator or an honorable member of the House of Representatives earns. It's still in the conjecture. The courts have ruled that they should come clean under the Freedom of Information request filed by the one NGO. And of course, up till today, they've not complied with that order. As we speak today, nobody is sure of the figures. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy says between 300,000 to 600,000 barrels of crude oil are lost on a daily basis. And when you multiply that by over $100, you come to begin to see, we are talking of billions of naira every day. People are spending money without appropriation. How do you define what happened in the fuel subsidy scam? Is that not fiscal anarchy that some people were collecting money for goods, for fuel that they never imported into the country? How do you define fiscal anarchy if it is not the 45,000 ghost workers that collected over 100 billion naira and vanished into thin air, and the coordinating minister of the economy says they cannot be prosecuted? Nobody can.